Alright, shalom, shalom. Before I begin, I want to start first by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. I want to give double honors to my teachers, the head elders, and apostles of Great Millstone. I want to give a peace and a blessing and a salutation to the hopeful elect. Brothers out there that labor in His work, as well as you sincere sisters as well. So I keep stuttering. But the title of this lesson, I want to go into a little bit about being obedient, right? Or it's all about obedience, being obedient, right? Because that's really the number one thing that the Lord requires of us: obedience. You know, obedience and faith, right? But obedience, with obedience, what are you going to do? You're going to listen. You're going to hearken, right? Matter of fact, disobedience, all right, which is the opposite of obedience, obviously. Disobedience is the reason why we went into captivity. The reason why why we are suffering, the things we're suffering, why we're under the curses, basically. Because when you read the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, what did the Lord say? If you'll listen, if you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, then I'll bless you. Right? In other words, if you obey, right? All right. If you obey my laws, statutes, and commandments, I'll bless you above measurement. But if you don't, if you rebel, if you disobey my words, guess what? I'm going to curse you. And obviously, we know that happened. We know that, pursuant to the scriptures and obviously our condition, that we went under the curses because we was disobedient, right? And it's also in the scriptures, man, right? But this book of Deuteronomy 28, and read verse 1, says, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth." So it says, if we shall hearken diligently, right, to observe and to do all his commandments which he commanded us. So again, if we was obedient, to his word, right, if we followed those laws, statutes, and commandments, we would have been blessed. But again, what happened? We ended up not being obedient. We ended up going after the imagination of our own wicked heart, right? Jump down a little bit. Verse 15, it says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God," if you don't obey, don't be obedient to his law. It says to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon you and overtake thee. Right? And that's exactly what happened. All these curses overcame us. All these curses came upon us and overtook us, man. Right? We, instead of being drowning in blessings, we were drowning in curses. Right? Instead of drowning in blessings, we was drowning in curses, or we're drowning in curses. But we're living in a time with the Heavenly Father, man. He's lifting up, he's slowly but surely lifting up the curses off of Jacob, man. Right? And that's why you see Esau's kingdom slowly falling, man. Right? Because the Lord is, he's slowly taking the curses up off of us and putting it upon our enemies, as it says in Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. That the Lord's going to do that. Let's go to the book of Baruch. And again, it's just all about obedience, man. Right? It's all about obedience. Obedience is the number one thing that the Lord requires, man. Because with obedience, everything else is going to fall in line. If you're obedient to the words of the Lord, then, you're going to naturally keep his law, statutes, and commandments. You're going to naturally serve him. You're going to naturally do the things that he requires of you. All right, it starts first from, it starts with obedience, right? Or it's all about obedience, right? And that's the number one thing that a man wants from his woman. All right, it is not the Lord liking, us, the house of Israel, unto his woman. Right? Are we not likened it to the woman of the Lord? All right, and what is one thing that a man wants from his woman? Obedience, man. To listen to him, right? To listen to him, and and again, obey him. Obedience, right? about obedience, man, and that's also, a form of love too. That's a form, you know, of you showing that you love somebody when you listen to them, when you obey their commandments. So again, that's what the Lord requires of us, man. Right? Obedience. So it's all about obedience. It's all about listening to the Lord, man. Obeying His word. Uh, this is the book of Baruch, the first chapter, and I'm starting at 17. It says, "For we have sinned before the Lord, and disobeyed Him, and have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our power, to walk in the commandments that He gave us openly. Since the day that the Lord brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt unto this present day, we have been disobedient to the Lord our power, and we have been negligent in not hearing His voice." Yeah, we've been disobedient, man. Right? And that's the reason why we kept getting kicked in the ass, man. That's the reason why when you go into, when you read the book of Judges, that's pretty much, was the theme. Israel would do right one minute, and then eventually they'll start going off, start being disobedient, not keeping the words of our power. Again, going off, right, being disobedient, and then what will happen? We'll start getting kicked in the ass, or we'll start catching hell. Calamity will start coming upon us, right? And then that's when we'll turn to the Lord. It was just, the same process over and over again, man. Right? So that's the reason why us as people, we keep getting kicked in the ass, man. That's the reason why, us, the Israelites, why we kept getting kicked in the ass, why we keep getting kicked in the ass, and why while we're at the bottom right now, man, because of disobedience into the Lord our power, man. He gave us simple instructions that He wanted us to live by. But what did we want to do? We wanted to, matter of fact, verse 22 tells you, we wanted to do what we want to do, basically. Right? So, again, it's all about obedience, man. Because disobedience, leads to punishment. It doesn't pay to be disobedient. It doesn't pay at all, man. Verse 20, it says, "Wherefore the evils cleaving to us in the curse, which the Lord appointed by Moses his servant at the time that He brought our forefathers out of the land of Egypt, to give us a land that flows with milk and honey, like as it is to see this day. Nevertheless, we have not hearkened unto the voice of the Lord our power, according to all the words of the prophets whom He sent to us." And that's another thing, man. Listening. How do you get the message from the Lord? How do you get the message of the Lord? From His prophets. All right, the Lord uses men to give His word, and you're supposed to listen to those men, because by default, if you listen to those men, then you're listening to, the Lord. That's why Yahushua said it the best, man. He that receiveth you receiveth me. He that received me, so on. He that received you received me. So if you receive the prophets, if you listen to the words of the prophets, then you're basically listening to the words of the Lord, right? Because it ain't, the prophets ain't out there speaking their own. Prophets are not out there speaking their own words, right? They're speaking the words of the Lord, man. They're coming with the message from the Lord, right? They're not coming with their own message. They're not coming, with their own, again, preaching their own message. They're not out there speaking their own words that they came up with, words that they feel in their heart. No, man, they came speaking the words of the Lord, man. They came with the message from the Lord, right? Verse 22, right, it's a beautiful point. It says, "But every man followed the imagination of his own wicked heart, to serve strange gods, and to do evil in the sight of the Lord our power." So, again, it's all about obedience, man, because disobedience, wanting to do what you want to do, not hearkening to the voice of the Lord, not following after His words, it leads to punishment, man. Right? It doesn't pay to be disobedient at all. Right? Every man follow. We follow after the imagination of our own wicked heart, man, to serve strange gods, and to do evil in the sight of the Lord. And again, that's the reason why we're in this condition right now, man. I start off with Deuteronomy 28. The Lord told us, if on one hand, if we be obedient, if we listen, if we hearken, and do, follow after His instructions, we'll be blessed above, measurement. But if we don't, if we be disobedient, then we'll be cursed above measurement, above imagination. And obviously, that's what happened. The evil's cleaving to us. Because why? Because we were disobedient. So, I just wanted to touch on that real quick. Really nothing meant to be too long. Quick, straight to the point. It's all about obedience, man. Listening, right? Hearkening to the voice of the Lord. And it's just that simple, man. So, Lord's willing, this is edifying, right? So with that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors to my teachers, the head elders, and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, salutations to the hopeful elect. All right, Shalom.